Right, this video will show the construction of the Modelux Acle Station Footbridge. Relatively easy to build. I'm going to start with the steps, two sets of steps, exactly the same. You'll notice there's an etched side to each panel and a plain side. Now the plain side faces in, so that when you see the steps on the final bridge, you've got the etched detailing around the lattice work. Let's start by placing the steps. The steps have an etched tread plate top surface, blank underneath. Use PVA glue. The steps themselves have a taper system, common with lots of Modelux products. This will allow quick location of the component into the slot on the bridge. So you're introducing the step with the etched tread plate facing up to the inside of the handrails. You push it in, it will nip into position. There's quite a few of these. I'm not going to edit the video down if you don't want to watch, understandably, all the steps being placed in. Then fast forward. You can use the PVA fairly liberally. It will set clear and you won't really see it. It's always nice to start with the trickiest element first, so when it's out of the way, it's plain sailing. Use tweezers to hold the steps and to locate into the slot, but be careful that you don't damage the relatively delicate surface of the tread plate. That's etched on and will potentially delaminate the surface if the sharp edges of the tweezers abrase it. This kit is available in N-gauge, TT and OO. The method of construction is fundamentally the same. Obviously the N-gauge is a lot smaller, and the material for N-gauge is a 300 GSM flex core card, so very thin, very flexible, but the construction method is exactly the same. The bridge itself is based on the bridge at Acle Station in Norfolk. It's designed to be platform height and spun 2 tracks. and this powder blue is or was the colour at the time of the survey. The kit does come with very, very basic instructions. They're really not terribly detailed, and the intention is that this video provides a more comprehensive guide to construction. So that's all the steps in. Let's give it a few minutes for the end ones here to the glue to set. As in a minute we're going to locate the opposing panel here, and we don't want the steps to pop out. Now when we do this, we're going to glue a small amount of PVA on each of the ends of the steps. We're just going to locate step by step using the tweezers to establish the position within the slot, and it should all press into position quite nicely and align all the steps. This bridge has been available through Modelux since about 2016, so coming on for 10 years, but it's just been reworked to make it 17.3% easier to build. And a couple of the elements, notably the legs, have been redesigned. They're now made out of PLA. Right, so that's the bit of glue on each one. Start with the end that I'm going to have to pull this towards me. It might go a little bit out of shot for a second while I locate the first one. First is always the trickiest to do. So align with the tweezers so that you can see the step locating into the slot, and then just press it home with maybe a forefinger. That's my choice. So it's a relatively quick and easy task, and then you'll see that the steps are then all even and aligned. So then repeat on the second step exactly the same, breaking with the usual way that I do this. I'm going to cut while I do this because it's an absolute repeat of the first one. That's just a waste of videotape. Right, so both sets of steps are complete. Now you need to fit the landing platforms. They've got two sets of notches, and you've got to glue these the right way. So if you glue it like that, you've got the notches in the wrong position. So make sure you've got the notches that align with the railings, and then there's going to be one at the back for the rear set of railings. So that's the format. Pop that in and repeat on the other side. Make sure you double check that you've got it the correct way around. Set those to one side, then we're going to do the rear railing. Now these have got 1, 2, 3, 4 notches, and they're for deck beams there, which we'll do in a minute. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 notches there. They're for more of the steps, exactly the same as the main steps that you've just completed. Again, make sure the tread plate is facing up. And then on the other side. You'll find there are spare steps included in the kit. Don't get confused and end up staring at the ones left over at the end for hours on end. They're included because the etching of the tread plate sometimes causes a surface delamination, and the step is ruined, and so there are spares because of that. We're then going to put the deck beams in. Now all this has to be done before the mating of the opposing railings, because otherwise you won't be able to, you can't retrofit these without bending the whole assembly, which you don't want to do. Again, you'll find there are spare deck beams because they sometimes break in transit. They're relatively delicate. These aren't decorative, they do support the deck. Now the opposing railing assembly fits like that, and the assembly of it is essentially the same as you experienced with the two sets of steps. So we'll glue everything all together at once. And again, the trickiest part of this is establishing the location of the first step. Once that's done, the rest should be relatively easy. Now this is trickier for me to do than it will hopefully be for you to do, because I have to do this at a distance, because you don't want the top of my head interfering with the view of the detail, and the fact that I'm doing this from afar makes it a bit trickier. It might not be completely level straight away, and the assembly can be tweaked like that before. What will bring it all into line is the deck here. So you're going to glue along the deck beams, and then the deck will drop in. That will assist in bringing the railings into perpendicular, also adding the intrinsic stability of the structure, ready to mate it to the steps. And interestingly, this pretty much is how the real bridge is constructed. So I'm just drop that in crudely into position, and then tweak it by eye, press down, ensure location and surface adhesion of the deck beams before progressing. So that's done dead easy. So that's the main deck and upper assembly completed, ready to fit the steps. So these will simply locate like that. So you're going to glue these three edges, 1, 2, 3. Because the kit is manufactured to an accuracy of greater than 0.1 millimeter, it will go together very, very easily. And once the glue is all set on this, we're going to do the steps, which is essentially apologies, not the steps, the legs. It's essentially an independent assembly from this, so you can build them completely separately, then add later on. The final stage of the construction of the Acle Footbridge is the leg assembly here, and this comprises of 8 sections of PLA leg, a joining ring to make a complete leg, and the framework made of these brace sections. The first thing to do is join these into the slots on the main brace. These aren't symmetrical, so make sure they're obviously wider than they are tall, so don't try and fit this way around. It has to be the same as the same as the lower assembly. So I'll take this off camera a second so I can locate the tabs. So the leg assembly is complete here. We now need to fit the 2 parts of the leg, each leg, through these holes and attach the 2 parts using this. Now, when you're fitting these legs, it's better to gently turn, and they'll tend to wind their way through. If you try and push it, you'll just break the round supports. Once it's halfway through, just carefully fit the joiner, and then repeat with the other part of the leg. So it's quite simple to do. Once all 4 legs have been fitted, you just tweak and adjust so that they're all level. So you can spend a few minutes once this is done just tweaking it and getting it all the legs straight, level. I'm not going to spend a few minutes doing that, it's broadly correct. You can retro adjust once these assemblies have been fitted to the bridge, so it's not crucial that these are absolutely perfect now. So we're going to fit the leg assemblies to the base using a suitably heavy tool. I have the bridge on its back and we're going to glue these to the lower surface of the landing platform. They only fit one way around, so check first. The platform's obviously an oblong and the leg assembly forms an oblong. So glue to the top of the posts. Right, so once the legs have been fitted, leave it a while for everything to dry, and then using tweezers you can adjust these so that every base of each post hits the surface perfectly. This isn't a completely straight piece of card that I'm using as a preparation surface, so there is a wobbly element as a result of that. But you can see now the bridge is done. Looks complicated, looks very busy, but is in fact quite simple to do. You'll notice that the edges of lots of the card elements are brown, expose the inner core. This adds to the weathered appearance of the bridge, but if you want to de-weather it and make it look new, then it will accept. Give it a quick waft of primer and then a colour of your choice, and it will flatten the whole thing down and make it look like a new bridge. But that's the Acle Station footbridge.